How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hobby Talk, a cardboard podcast. This is episode number 16. 16, yes. And today I am riding solo because Ricky has some family things to attend to. I believe he's having some family visit him out in Chicago. So it's going to be you and me today, and I'm all for that. If you guys hear a little rasp in my voice, um, I think it's allergies. I don't know if it's burnout. I don't know what's going on, but I'm gonna try to fight through it. I'm gonna try to give you guys a good episode today, solo. So ignore any weirdness that you might hear in my voice as we kind of barrel through this, because there are some topics that I do want to get to as we discuss today's episodes. Again, solo, you and I. And I just want to dive right into it. And actually, it does involve Ricky. So I want to put my screen up there so I can share my screen. Let's see. So as you can see right here, this is a picture from Ricky's Instagram story where he had a bunch of cards that he was trying to sell. He did a story sale and all that stuff. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because people oftentimes come to the shop or they reach out to me. Hey, I got a bunch of cards. I don't know what to do with them. Hey, I got a bunch of cards. Do you buy them? And I oftentimes, if I'm not interested, I will tell them to, hey, go post it on eBay, post it on Facebook Marketplace, groups, card shows. I give them ample suggestions, and if they don't want to put in the work, that's on them. But the suggestions that I give them are actually good, and they're worth it. In all honesty, they are. Can I do that? I'm just trying to see if I can make it. Oh, okay, here we go. That's a good one. And those suggestions are actually really good because I know a lot of people actually go out and do that. However, people will just find 91 tops cards or 92 score cards in their basement, in their attic, or cleaning out storage lockers, whatever it may be. And they just want to get, I just want to get rid of it. I don't want nothing to do with it. It's like you're not going to just get handed money without putting in work, especially in this hobby more often than not. And I wanted to show this picture of Ricky because he says this is why I run sales on Facebook instead of Instagram. 7 packages going out, $1,500 in sales, 13 cards total in like an hour's work. Now, granted, he's dealing with a lot better cards than 91, 92, tops, Donruss score, whatever. But the principle is still the same. It takes an hour of work to sell a few cards. I mean, I don't understand why people don't want to do that, because they just want to sit back and expect the money and expect people to just buy it and come to them and all that good stuff, which if it works for some people, that's great. If you post things on Marketplace, that's kind of how that works. eBay, you got to ship it, but the buyer comes to you. It's just the physical work that people don't want to put into it to be able to promote and to be able to put these cards out there that they don't want. I see all the time, like I mentioned it before, I see it all the time. People come in with trash bags, plastic bags, paper bags, lunch boxes, yellow cardboard boxes that are like 35 years old. And it's just very unappealing stuff to me. That's at least to me. That doesn't mean it's not unappealing to somebody else or someone who's willing to actually put the work in to sell each card for a dollar or two or three, a dollar, and so on. Whereas to me, uh, it's worth little to nothing. And I mean no offense by that. What I mean is it's not worth it for me to break down all the cards by team, because more often than not, it's baseball. To break them down by team and put them in the quarter bin. ROI, percentage, return on investment percentage. It makes sense to buy, you know, 4,000 cards for like $40, break them all down and sell them for a quarter each. You're going to make tons of money that way. Yes, you're right. But time is not calculated into it. Stress is not calculated into it. And honestly, quarter cards, far and few people dive into the quarter bins here at the shop, and I would say that's probably anywhere else. So it's just not worth the time, the hassle, and the struggle. Where more often than not, if I really want to get quarter cards, I can just go open a box of 2022 Series 2 baseball cards, and I'll get 80, 90 quarter cards that way. So I guess a big takeaway of mine is it's just you have to know what you got. you gotta put a little bit of work in, otherwise you have no leverage, or honestly, you have real no value in your stuff if you're not willing to put the work in. Because why should I give you a lump sum of money for stuff that you don't really want, that you just want to get rid of? So if anything, all the leverage, all the power is on me. And people that go out and buy cards, I think this is a good tip of advice, is if you're one that like scours Facebook or scours shows and yard sales, more often than not, these people don't want these cards, especially, bigger the bulk, the more they don't want it. And you have a lot of leverage if you can, word your phrases correctly, if you can say keywords and be like, hey, I'll take it off your hands because, it's more trouble to you than it is to me. It's just when people, specifically when people come here to the shop, I don't mean this in any bad way at all, but you have, especially when it comes with, older cards, little to no leverage. And I know that they're little to no value to you. So it's just like you need to kind of come in with that mentality or be willing to put the work in, especially when you're dealing with cards that a lot of people don't want. Now, when you're dealing with, Joe Burrows and Herbert and, Jamar Chases and Jeffersons, it's a little different story. Luka Tatum, it's a different story. But when you're talking about 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, regardless of the sport, it doesn't matter. A lot of people don't really want that stuff. Unfortunately, but there are a few collectors that are out there that do want it. There are people out there that do want to buy it to sell it individually. And those are the people that like to gobble this stuff up for 5 to 10 to $20 a box or whatever it may be for them. And again, they need to and they want to put in the work. But if someone doesn't want to put in the work and who's trying to sell it, then again, little to no leverage there. So I just wanted to kind of showcase Ricky putting in the work. I know he's not, here with us today, but he's here with us in spirit, him putting in the work on Facebook. And again, I tell people all the time, Facebook, eBay, Marketplace, card shows, yards. I mean, there's just so many options out there for people, but they get turned off by the idea that they have to put a little bit of work into it. Why? Beyond me. But I mean, is that just a testament to today's society? Maybe we're lazy. Maybe we just, want money to come pouring in on us. Who knows? I'm not trying to make assumptions here. I'm getting a little carried away, but you get the point. Next point I want to talk about is let's see, hold on. Let's see if I can screen share, stop recording. Hello guys. Here we go. Next thing I want to talk about is, how can we do this better? Sorry guys, just bear with me. Here we go. Yeah, this looks like it'll work. Next thing I want to talk about is Geoff Wilson, sports card investor. You might know him with Market Movers. He came out with a book for, one of those for dummy brand books, Sports Card Collecting and Investing for Dummies. Now, in a vacuum, I like the idea. In a vacuum, I like the idea. It's a good entry level way for, just about anybody. But my thing is the data in there, if there's any data. I haven't read it. I'd like to kind of go to Barnes and Noble and just kind of, piece through it a little bit. If there's any data points in there, besides historical data points, then it's going to be outdated in a very short period of time. But if it says determine the value of your cards. I don't know how you might be able to read that. You might not be. I don't know. Can you even see my mouse? I hate the screens. The screen sharing stuff is wild to me. Whatever. It says on the cover, determine the value of your cards. Okay, that's pretty simple. You go to eBay, you type the card, the number, if there's any grade, you search, you go to sold listings, easy as that. Card buying basics and building your collection. Okay, there could be some tips, tricks, buy who you like, the teams you like, the players you like. Okay, I get that. Flipping cards for profit. Now, Geoff, this is where I kind of, now, again, I like the idea of the book. I like what Geoff's done for the hobby with Market Movers, Sports Card Investor. I don't agree with him on a lot of things. I think Cards HQ is a cool idea. Is it the right idea? Is it a smart idea? I don't know. His 14,000 square foot shop in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if it's a good idea, but I like the idea. And I think there's a distinction there. Flipping cards for profit, though, Geoff, is kind of something that I want to point out because a lot of people don't, a lot of people post about the cards that they won deals on. Like, oh, I sold this card for X after buying it raw, and then I got it graded, and my profit was this. But it's the deals you don't hear about from people. And that's why a couple weeks ago, I wanted to post and let people know, hey, I got scammed. I got scammed out of $1,000. And that level of awareness is very important to people because, yeah, I post tons of cards, products, hobby related news on social media, here on YouTube as well. And a lot of content creators, obviously more, creators with a better or higher influence than me, they don't really post about their losses though. And I think that's a huge element of the hobby is because when people come to the shop, they may see, wow, you just sold that card for $300. Oh, you sold that box for $500. Wow, you just made $800. No, 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 no. That's not how that works. And I tell them all the time, like, I still got to buy the card. I still got to buy the box. So it's not me just making $800. It's me making insert percentage, right? Can't disclose that, guys. Come on. So when it comes to being transparent myself, again, hey, I got scammed on these cards. I think that level of transparency was very important. Geoff, other content creators, they're not as transparent as me because they don't have that local vibe, that local experience that they give their consumers, their customers. Now, me here at Murph's Cartown, you guys know that. I greet you every time you come in the door. I ask how you're doing. I check up on you from a previous conversation. I try my best to get to know you. And probably a lot of people that are watching this, if you are local to the shop, you probably know that that's true. That everything that I just said right there is true. And uh, Geoff, again, this is not against Geoff here. It's just he told you in recent YouTube videos and in the past to invest in the following players. Now, you let me know if any of these guys were good investments: Will Greer, Kyler Murray, Bo Bichette, Desmond Ritter. Now, those are just four that I could just think of at the top of my head. Now, there's obviously a bunch of other players out there too. Like there's Ben Simmons, James Harden. I mean, we can really kind of go all day with this. Now, have you ever heard not once Geoff say, hey, or any content creator, and I'm not trying to just pin this on Geoff, I'm really not, but any content creator say, hey, I'm sorry for telling you to buy up Kyler Murray cards. He tore his ACL. The Cardinals suck. He's mediocre. Hopefully you didn't spend too much or lost too much money. That's on me, guys. I'm sorry. That's why I, a while ago, stopped the whole top 5 players to buy, top 5 players to sell, and all those videos. I think I stopped making those maybe a year ago, year and a half ago, just because the market's super volatile. I didn't want to be the reason why someone spent too much money on a card and it didn't work out. I didn't want to be the reason why someone got screwed out of a deal or money. Like, I'll give you my opinion if I think they're a good buy. If you want to give me a player's name, like, hey, Murph, do you think Trevor Lawrence is a good buy coming up into this season? I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on it because you prompted me the player. And I think that's a legitimate, fair conversation to have. But when you have content creators telling you to go buy a Bijan Robinson cards, if you just take a step back and look at the past couple of years of running backs, you'll notice that Jonathan Taylor was super hyped up in 2020. Now his cards are dollars. Najee Harris in 2021, super hyped up. Now his cards are worth dollars. Kenneth Walker 2 years ago, super hyped up. Now his cards are worth dollars. Bijan Robinson, I would probably say, is better than all three of them, but his cards were super hyped up, and now you can find some of his cards for maybe not dollars, but for cheaper. And I think as we kind of go into, further into his career, the running back card market just comes down. Now, could we point to 2020, 2021 and the market being different, the hobby being different? Sure. But ultimately, I don't think that's the real reason why those top tier hyped up running backs are worth super cheap. But have you heard about Roth cards saying, hey, I bought this Bijan Robinson card for crazy money? I don't know if that was a smart purchase. Now, if he went on to flip it, that later that show, hey, great play, congratulations, nice move. But when you have someone like a Geoff sitting here telling you, I think Will Greer is 4 times better investment as whoever. Oh, I think Ben Simmons is a buy. That's where I kinda think that this book here loses its validity when you look at the track record of some of his misses. Now, I don't think we should be focusing on the investment side of, s cards. I think we should be more so sports card collecting for dummies. I mean, people like to invest, I mean, in certain things. If it's long term, I think it's easier to have that kind of conversation, a conversation within this book long term, like, "Hey, buy buy a couple hobby boxes and keep them on ice, buy some booster boxes and throw them in the closet, buy Hall of Fame players, buy legends, buy GOATs, keep them away, forget about them for a few years." Like, those are the conversations and topic points that I would like to think that this book is having, but when I hear the term "flipping cards for profit," literally right on the front page, yeah, it just feels like it's like a you buy for X 1 week, you wait 2 weeks, you sell it for 20% more. And again, when you have a track record like Jeff, who's I like to think, I mean, I don't know what the percentage of right to wrong or wrong to right is, but when he has some blaring misses, guys, when he has some blaring misses, it's hard to take it legitimately. Again, I want to check out the book. I think it'll be interesting. I might be able to make a few videos off of it, but I'm gonna be very skeptical about it. Now, if it was, again, just a book about collecting, I think that would be great. If it was sports card collecting and long-term investment, again, talking about the GOATs and buying sealed product and holding those, I think that's a nice conversation to have. Maybe I'll even do that on YouTube. Let me know down in the comment section below if you guys would like me to maybe make a series of videos about sports card collect or just card collecting. I don't wanna, not include Pokemon because I think sealed Pokemon has massive upside long term. I mean, I'll get into that in a second, but let me know down in the comments below if you guys want me to make a series here on YouTube, card collecting and long-term investing, or if you just want me to make a series long-term investing where I give you some tips and tricks and stuff that I think is credible and valuable, and we can do that because I think it's a really good idea, long-term investing, but that's the key, long term, not short term, not flipping, long term. Now, what I was saying about the Pokemon, and I'm kind of going off topic here, but actually, it might segue into my next point. Actually, now that I think of it, sealed Pokemon, I think is one of the best long-term investments. I really, 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 really do. Now, if you're gonna buy it and hope to sell it in a year, you might be a little overzealous because if you bought a no, Scarlet and Violet booster box last year, well, it's kind of gone down in price. But Sword and Shield came out about 4.5 years ago. Sword and Shield base. Now, for those that know Pokemon, know exactly what I'm talking about. For those that don't, I'm sorry. Um, Scarlet and Violet is the new era of Pokemon where the first booster of or the first set of each new era is just what the era's name is called, but like base set. So like Scarlet and Violet base set. Now there's Scarlet and Violet, Paldea Evolved, Obsidian Flames. These are the other sets coming out. But 4.5 years ago or so, what was it? Sword and Shield base set first came out, market price, then it tanked. You look back 4 years later, and now it's almost a $300 box, where at the time it was about $100 or $20 or so. You look, there's a booster box that I have here on the shelves here at the shop. Primal Clash. That's from XY. That's like 4 sets ago. That box came out 10 years ago. And not a single card in that box is worth more than $30 last time I checked. I don't know what it currently is. But the box is worth anywhere between 6 to 700. Why? Not because of the cards inside, but because the box is sealed in a decade old, 10 years old. That's where the value comes in. Look at base set Pokemon booster boxes. The very first ones. If you get a first edition box, what is that? 400,000, 350, 300,000. I mean, you could buy a house with that box. That's what I'm saying, how these cards just progress and appreciate. I had papers fall over time. So hopefully the idea of long-term investing is resonating with people a little bit better than the flipping aspect. Yeah, you might be able to flip a $10 card for 15, a $20 card for 30. That's great and all that stuff. However, people need to be prepared, and they're not, but they need to be prepared for those cards to lose value or for those cards to not pan out the way that maybe you're envisioning it. But if you tag the investing as long-term investing, now you got to buy into the idea that you need patience. And excuse me, a lot of people in this hobby, and I've said this here at the shop, I've said this here on the channel, a lot of people don't have the patience because they just want to buy. And Ricky and I have talked about this several times. People just want to buy it for X, let's say $100 right now, and then go sell it for $200 later tonight. That's just the nature that we're in with a lot of people, and that's why I try to be super conservative here in this hobby is have fun, enjoy the ride, enjoy opening the pack, have fun with the box. Enjoy what you're buying, feel confident with what you're buying in terms of singles, boxes, packs, whatever it may be. And a lot of people have this idea that this hobby is so business orientated. Now, if you can make a few dollars off of it, that's great. But it's a hobby at the end of the day, and I wanna see more people collecting and have a collection, enjoy the collection, and hopefully, this book here by Geoff hopefully illustrates the importance of collecting and the fun that the collecting is and how much, and how I'm, like, at a loss for words here. It's just, like, collecting besides, like, "Oh, it's fun. Oh, it's a great time," like, it's hard to put into words. Like, when you find that card that you've been looking for, when you finally open the card that you really wanted, it's like not a feeling of euphoria, but it's just like, "Huh." It's like a sigh not a sigh of relief, but it's just like, "Oh, well, maybe it is a sigh of relief. Like, I finally got it. I found it. Oh, I really like this card." And just like that weird good feeling that you have, especially when you dive into more of your collecting, uh, side of your hobby endeavors, let's say. So, we're gonna stop that one, and I wanna dive into Card Ladder. Now, I've made several videos myself about Card Ladder. I don't think Ricky and I have talked about Card Ladder all too much. Now, people who care about, percentages, ups and down trends, the people that focus on the downtrends of the hobby, please stay away. Not stay away, but don't like, oh my god, look at all this red, and then next thing you know, they're just like, oh, the hobby's down, the market's crashing, and all that good stuff. Like, listen, look at this, look at this. It's not bad, guys. It's not bad. People are like, oh my god, it's all down, it's all crash and burn and sell, sell, sell. Oh, we should never have gone into this hobby. I spent so much money. That's a pessimistic way to look at this. This is a very negative way to look at this. However, when I look at this, I'm looking at, oh, football is up. Pokemon is up. Let's see. Soccer's up. It's very niche, but everything really else that I so much care about is down. Basketball's down 1.74%. Yay. Where's baseball? Baseball, 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 baseball. Is there no baseball, 1.27%. Like, I mean, they're not drastic dips, guys. It's not like it's down 28 percent here compared to it being up 28% for tennis. But tennis has always been up. It's crazy. I think it's just a super niche market. But having a market being down or being in a bear market or is there another word for it? Down market, bear market? I don't think there's another word. It just means that cards are more accessible. I've preached this before. It just means that whatever card you want, whatever card you're looking for, you can go. It's more obtainable now. Let's say you only have $100 to spend for cards. Well, now your options for what you could spend that $100 on greatly improved on. Like if you go back to 2020 or 2021, your $100 is not getting you much. It'll get you some base cards, it'll get you some cheaper cards, but like a base Joe Burrow card was like a base Prism Joe Burrow was like 100, 150 back in the day. Base. I want to say I even saw a peak north of 200. And I don't know. Man, we got people noise next door. Hopefully next episode we're maybe at the new place. Maybe little sneak peek there. Maybe I don't know. Anyways, $100 got you far less. It's like reverse inflation here in society. Inflation's up what? I don't even know what percent. 15% over the past few years. Whereas Like the hobby, it's like reversed inflation, whereas $100 got you less a few years ago compared to today, what $100 can get you. If that makes sense, I really think that's a really good way to kind of compare it. You look at, the economic society today, where if you have $100 today, that gets you far less than what $100 got you 3, 4 years ago, in real world, not just the hobby. So think of it like that. It's like reverse inflation. Like the prices in the market's coming down. It just makes things more accessible. Why wouldn't we want the market in these percentages of cards or types of cards to be down? Again makes it more affordable. It makes it easier to sell because now we have a card that's worth $80 instead of $200. $80 is way easier to sell than $200. At least in my experience. At least, and that's why I don't sell a lot of cards over like $300. Oh Jesus. I'm just throwing everything. Without Ricky, I'm all over the place here in this video because I'm just talking. I don't have time to breathe. So I'm just arms everywhere. I'm just going, and going. But that's why I don't sell many cards over $300 is because more often than not, my average customer, my average clientele coming in is not looking to spend $300 on one specific card. Maybe they want to spend $300 total, but they want to grab a box, a pack of this, some cards of that, maybe a mystery bag, whatever it may be. So that's like when I think of it, it's like, again, $300 gets me a lot more now than it did 3, 4 years ago in this hobby. I just don't understand why people aren't excited about that. Like, people look at like, oh, it's down. The prices of the cards are crashing. Oh, they're not the same what they used to be. It's like I understand your pessimistic point of view, probably because you bought it for $300. Now, a couple years later, because you sat on it, maybe you didn't put the work in, maybe you priced it too high, is now worth 150, which is less than half of less what you paid for. And that's why you think the market is down and crashing and burning. No, 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 no. I think we're in a great spot right now. I think the hobby's in a really good spot. And people say that, oh, people aren't into it anymore, that, it was a phase and people are out of the phase. And I tell people this: go to a big card show, not a local card show, a regional card show, whether it's like a Mohegan or a Quincy. Go to the national. Let me know if the market is down, if the market is dead, if it's crashing and burning at the national. And I've made countless videos the past couple years about the national. And I want you to let me know if you still think that the market's down, the market's dead, the market's crashing. And like maybe, just maybe, 2022 national is a little bit of a excuse me, it's a little bit of an outlier because people still had like stimulus money, government money. People were still running the high off of, getting that free money. But in 2023 is really when the hobby really shifted and changed away from COVID. Obviously, not completely away from COVID, but there was less people in the hobby in 2023 than there were in 2022. There's less people in the hobby in 2024 than there was in 23 and 22. But I think we're weeding out, is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it bad. Like the negative people, the negative Nancy's, is we're weeding those out. People that only care about the business side of it, people that only want to take your money and don't care about you. I think people that were just in it for a minute, the flippers, I think a lot of those who weren't able to make money anymore or weren't able to continuously make money or were losing too much money, I think those people are weeded out and we're starting to see more collectors, more people enjoying the hobby, maybe even more successful people actually flipping and doing all that stuff. People who have actually made successful businesses that serve a better purpose, whether it's card ladder, whether it's market movers, slab, what is it? Slab X stock, not stock X, slab, whatever. The 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 Instagram account with Aaron Nowak that I always repost a lot of time with trends. Slab X, I think it is. I forget what the hell it's called, but whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. And I'm very excited for this year's national too. I'm not going to try to dive into a national conversation here because I have a video coming out on Wednesday, actually, that the national's 90 days away, guys. 3 months away. That's insane. That's insane to me. And excuse me. And I think, let's see, can I just kind of ruined it. Whatever. And I really think that I think this national is going to be a huge tell because it's in Cleveland. It's not a busy area like Chicago, like the National was last year. It's not LA. It's not New York. It's in Cleveland. Big venue, nice venue from what I hear. But it's like the airport and the venue. And then like the city of Cleveland itself is like a 30-minute drive away, 20-minute drive, 30-minute drive away. And there's not a lot of restaurants in the area. So we're going to see. We're really going to see what this national shows in terms of this true state of the hobby. Because when I looked at the national last year, crowded aisles, crowded corners, tables, it's hard to find room to look through cards or negotiate deals with. And that to me showed me the hobby was in a great spot. The market wasn't down. The hobby was alive. The market wasn't crashing. The hobby was in a great spot. And I'm hoping to have the same level of feelings this coming year that I did the past couple of years. So that's really all I had for today's video. I wanted to talk about putting in the work, which I've already addressed, Geoff's book, obviously, and then I also wanted to talk about Card Ladder as well. I'm trying to think. We do have the NFL draft, which we did talk about, which I said I was going to talk about. Let me get a sip of water, and I'll just quickly address that. People are going to be very excited for Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. I think those are the two, I don't want to say the poster boys for 2024 football products, but yeah, they probably will be the poster boys for 2024 products. But and we know that Caleb's going to go number 1, Jaden Daniels probably going to go number 2. But I heed warning to people, and I mentioned this before. We're not going to see Caleb Williams Chicago Bears cards until like September, August, September. We have draft pick stuff. We have like Bowman Chrome stuff. We'll have I think Score and Prestige, which I think last year they might have had them in their NFL jerseys. I don't remember. And if they did, that's great, but it's going to take some time, guys. Don't expect it fairly soon. But the draft's huge. It really is, because it really sets the tone for the upcoming season. I mean, no one expected Will Levis to drop to the second round. And I think that kind of like, put people away from him, early on in the hobby. It's like, all right, Bryce Young goes number 1. Stroud goes 2. What was it? Anthony Richardson goes number 4. I think, yeah, 4 to the Colts. It's like those are the guys that everybody wants to buy because they're the top quarterbacks. But for the majority of the draft process, Will Levis was talked about in that mix too. I mean, it could have been a 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterback class, or there could have been 4 in the first 5 picks. But the fact that Will Levis dropped to the early second round, people were like, "Yeah, no, we don't like that guy. No, he's not as good as these other guys. Blah, he's a second round pick. Blah, no one wanted him. Blah." But then he actually played well, and the chances that he was able to get, he did look well, and then people were starting to talk about him again. This is my thing with quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, is they need time. And again, this is where like the lack of patience for people kind of come in. Is these kids, again, they're kids, don't forget, 21, 22. I know Penix and Jane Daniels is like 23, 24, but they're kids at the end of the day. They need time to develop, to grow, to get adjusted and acclimated to the NFL, because the NFL is completely different than college football. It's completely different. Speed is higher. The strength of the defenders is stronger. It's just slower guys are quicker in the NFL than they are in college. They're smarter. It's just a completely different game. But again, a lot of people will open those Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels first autos, those first RPAs, and then want to go sell them for a quick buck. All the power to them. But the people buying them like, wow, I just spent $1,000 on this RPA. Oh, but wait, they check back 3 weeks later, like, oh, why is this like $400 now? You need patience, or just don't impulsively buy it for $1,000. I think is a conversation in itself, is because these rookie quarterbacks, they might look good year 1. Look at Mac Jones. They might struggle year 1. Look at Trevor Lawrence, the Urban Meyer situation, but still, it needs to be considered. And then Mac Jones struggles year 2. T-Law looks okay year 2. I mean, to me, rookie quarterbacks need 3 years. But people in this hobby, a lot of people don't have patience for 3 years. You need to look good year 1. You need to look bad 1 year. I'm sorry, you look good 1 year, you look bad 1 year. What do you do in that 3rd year? What do you do in that 3rd year? If Mac Jones played well last year, I don't think he gets traded. If Trevor Lawrence sucked last year, maybe he gets traded. If Justin Fields played well 2 out of the 3 seasons in Chicago, he probably doesn't get traded. That's just the nature of it. If Kenny Pickett went into Pittsburgh as a first-round pick a couple years ago and he played well those 2 years that he was there, he doesn't get traded. But see, people just get so excited and overreact and impulsively buy these rookie quarterback cards because they want them immediately. But then when the market goes down because they weren't able to move them, then they get all flustered and frustrated, like, oh, the market's crashing. Oh, it's dying. Oh, it's burning. Oh, I lost so much money. It's the natural direction of like 95% of cards is down. The natural projection of 95% of a player's cards is down. Oversaturation, overprinted. However, if you have a nice unnumbered auto, that's great. But like, here's an out of 25 auto. A card like that will appreciate much better than your unnumbered auto. But people just don't understand and kind of peel back the layers and think of it as, I don't want to say as a science because it's not a science, but they don't peel it back and look at it from that perspective that, like, oh yeah, these cards are fresh, hot, and out of the oven, but we still have Prism later, we still have Mosaic later, Select, National Treasures, Flawless, like all these better products compared to like a Score or a Prestige. And people just jump all over the Score and Prestiges. They buy them. Next thing you know, they look. It's like, oh my god, my card went down in value. It's like, well, because more and more got printed, more and more got sold. The price of it's coming down because the supply is greater. Supply and demand, people. It's a simple concept in any business. So I really hope that this video, or well, excuse me, wow, YouTube habit right there. I really hope this episode of Hobby Talk was very informational. Hopefully, it opened your eyes up about the hobby and you were able to kind of take a thing or two away from what I had to say in regard to the hobby as a whole. I tried to be inclusive about sports and Pokemon. I know we don't talk about Pokemon a lot here on Hobby Talk just because, Ricky is not as well versed as I am into it. We kind of focus more on the sports side of it. But I do know that there are listeners out there that do like Pokemon. So I want to try to make an assertive effort to have more Pokemon here on the podcast. So I will try to do better moving forward. But hopefully I kind of hit a bunch of nails on the head, talked about this, talked about that. If you guys have any suggestions or recommendations of topics you would like Ricky and I to address, please drop those down below. I would greatly appreciate it. We would greatly appreciate it. And we will make sure to discuss those in an upcoming episode. Also, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you haven't already, please take a look at the channel membership program. I would greatly appreciate you guys checking that out, where you'll get a ton of exclusive access that the public doesn't get. Videos early, special special badges. You'll be able to get exclusive and special perks, again, that the public doesn't get. So there's 3 tiers. Check them out at your own time. I would greatly appreciate you guys considering joining the channel membership program. Like the video. I already asked you to comment down below. That will do it for today's episode of Hobby Talk. Before I go, I got to have my outgoing take because we do that all the time. I know Ricky's would be to buy James Wood. What would an outgoing take Ricky be for today? Um, it'd probably be baseball related. Be probably baseball related. I feel like it would be kind of like buy prospects early and be patient, long term, let them mature. And then, I mean, no one knew a thing about Ellie De La Cruz 2 years ago. But if you bought him, held on to him, then he would have exploded. So it's, you just got to think outside the box a little bit. Try to think outside the box of what other people aren't doing. Pick a prospect or, pick a bunch of prospects, buy them cheap, maybe grade them, be into them for as little as possible, and hope that they explode. And if you lose $100 throughout the process, then so be it, guys. You're gonna win some, and you're gonna lose some. Just make sure you win more than you lose, but be transparent about the deals that you lost. The Stephon Diggs jersey that I posted about on my social media page, I couldn't even tell you what I'm into that for, and I'm willing to sell it for like $200 at this point. I just want to get rid of it. I don't want to take it to the new shop. So I think Ricky's outgoing take would be something baseball related. Buy prospects, sit them, grade them, and then flip them when they get called up or they play hot. My outgoing take is, I know we got the draft coming up a week from today, and I do plan on being live. I'll probably be live on Instagram this time instead of YouTube. I just think it'll be more interactive on Instagram with you guys, especially with the Patriots having the 3rd overall pick. But again, if you guys want me to go live on YouTube, drop a comment down below. I'll happily go live on both outlets as well. But even with the draft coming up, and there's going to be a lot of draft hype, once the draft's over, we might see some more trades, leading up to the draft on draft night. Hockey and basketball playoffs are starting. I think the Bruins start on Saturday. The Bruins start on Saturday. I'm not sure when the Celtics start. They might start Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. And it's the first round, the first legit round. It's a good time to buy these guys. Tatum now before he has a 50-point game in game 4 to sweep whoever, or before he has a 45-point game in game 6 to close out the series. And then the market's just going to go up for any of these guys. You could talk about not Luka, I'm sorry, Jokic. You could talk about LeBron. The Kings won, so maybe you want to buy some De'Aaron Fox. The 76ers won. The Knicks are in it, so maybe you want to buy some Brunson cards. I would just maybe, if you're looking, I know I was kind of talking about, against quick flips, but if you're looking for quick flips, basketball and hockey, I think is the way to go. More people know about basketball, so maybe consider basketball. Obviously, not quick, but not long term, like short term, like 2 months. I think basketball is going to be a really good one. You buy Tatum now, you hope he wins, you sell it for double down the road. So, in the heat of the moment of the draft and all the news and all the conversations that we're going to be having, also think about basketball as well, because the playoffs are starting, and locally around here, the Celtics are hopefully and expected to win. And there's a lot of pressure. There's a bullseye on their back. But if they do, I think Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, all those guys' cards are going to go up in value. And I don't want you guys to miss the boat, especially around here where they are the local team and people want Tatum cards because they're a fan of Tatum. They want Brown cards because they're a fan of him, not because they want to flip it. So that's my outgoing take. Consider hockey, consider basketball in lieu of the NFL draft. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Ricky will be back in a couple weeks, but between now and then, thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.